Welcome to Corner, Caden verse Complex. I am Caden.
What's good, your boxing cousin complex? We back, baby.
That's right. And to kick things off, we're going to be talking about will Gervonta Davis retire after his fight with Jake Paul? Another thing to consider, Complex, is this fight is reported to be fought in 12-ounce gloves.
Mm-hmm.
There was a part of their press conference where Gervonta Davis and his team asked for 10-ounce gloves. Jake Paul agreed, but said they're the ones who wanted 12-ounce gloves. It's still up in the air what size gloves they will actually be wearing for the exhibition, but just want to throw that out there and you can give your input on that as well. Will Gervonta Davis retire, and what's your thoughts on the 12-ounce glove, 10-ounce glove fiasco?
It's interesting they're going over the 12-ounce gloves. I would think they'd talk about if they're going to wear big red noses and colorful wigs, because this whole thing looks like a circus to me, man. This whole thing, got a 200-plus pound man fighting a 135-pound man, and they're talking about 2 ounces in the gloves. What about the 50 pounds of weight difference we're talking about? I mean, this is all just a joke to me. It's all so silly. It's just it's hard to, the press conference, the concept of the fight. But in any event, 12 ounces, 10 ounces, whatever. I mean, a fight is a fight. Yes, the ounces do make a difference, but at the same time, look, the weight is going to make the bigger difference, right? The gloves, I think, one guy having way more, like 50 pounds on you is going to make a way bigger difference than what size gloves you have on, right? Because the punch is going to hit the same with that kind of weight difference. So, I don't know really whose idea it was for 12 ounces, or if they're trying to cap, whatever, if Gervonta's team really, wanted it and now they're trying to go back on it, but who cares? Will Gervonta retire after this fight? Probably. You know what? Good for him. You know what I mean? Because this guy clearly doesn't care about boxing. Clearly, Gervonta is here for the money. And you know what? More power to you, brother. I'm not mad at you, okay? I get it. We all trying to get paid, and he's got more important things, baby mamas and whatever to deal with or something. So I get it. You know what I mean? But clearly Gervonta is not in love with the sport of boxing. This man, I think, is trying to get paid and get out of here. He's like, whatever. If I can get some bread, I'm sure this fight's gonna come up with a lot of money. These kind of these circus fights do draw a lot of attention. So, shout out to him. But yeah, I think we might not see, because brother doesn't even want to fight, the fights he's supposed to. So let's keep it real. Gervonta is out of here after this fight. We ain't gonna see no more of Gervonta.
Well, I agree with you. Actually, I agree with you with most of what you said. I feel like this exhibition is something that wouldn't have been taken seriously back when boxing was booming. When you think of Floyd Mayweather in his prime, when Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd fought each other 24/7, that was the first time they actually followed boxers like reality TV. And I remember it was groundbreaking, and we were like, oh
Classic.
man, this
Yeah.
is amazing. Yeah, I remember that. And now it just seems like from that comes this. Now we're looking at the WWE version of boxing. Really, that's what I feel like we've stumbled into. And Floyd is groundbreaking in a sense where people say he ruined boxing. I feel like from a professional athlete standpoint, he's been nothing but a positive example on how to train hard, go in the ring and perform under the lights. And he's been perfect. And people try to discredit his opponents, but you can't really do that. You can be nitpicky, but he's beat the most champions in the history of the sport of boxing. So regardless of what you're trying to say about him, you can't take that away. But there are other things that he's done where I feel like, oh man, that may have changed the game for better or for worse. For better, the fighters are getting paid. But when you look at his crossover fight with Conor McGregor, it broke records. It broke the records he set with actual boxers like Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya. So when a crossover fight can do those type of numbers, and it's risk averse, meaning for the actual boxer who's been training their entire life in a boxing ring, you fight someone who doesn't have a fraction of the skill set that you have, and you get to make the most money. It's like asking someone to mow a lawn that's 100 square foot and making $100, or mow a lawn that's 500 square foot and make the same. So it's like, oh,
Now I got a question for you.
yeah.
I'm gonna throw something back at you. As a steward of box, as a steward, as the face of the sport, do you think that actually? I know you're a Mayweather fan, but I'm actually gonna say that he did a disservice to the sport. I think he did, right? And now I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna hold you for a second. The Conor McGregor fight with Mayweather wasn't the first time we had a spectacle fight with the top guy in the sport. Muhammad Ali had a fight with Antonio Inoki, a pro wrestler, back in the day, right? They've had these kind of fights before where it was a spectacle or whatever. But at the end of the day, the guy who was the biggest guy in the sport was always a fighter's fighter, right? And he had a certain amount of respect for the sport where the way he approached it. Mayweather, I think, was Money Mayweather. And it was a character, but it was also a little bit himself, too. And I think his kind of like, oh, who cares about belts? Who cares about this? Who, whatever, it's just about the money. I think brought up a new generation of fighters who are just like, who cares about the belts? Everything's about the money. As long as I'm rich at the end of the day, who cares what happens? As long as I can make those sell the most fights, sell the most t-shirts, sell the most tickets, who cares what if I have a belt or not? And I think that's exactly why Tank is like, who cares if I'm champion, I defend my belt or whatever. As long as I make money, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot wrapped into what you said. The first thing I'll address is Muhammad Ali was suspended in the prime of his career because he refused to go to war in Vietnam. So you have to think about it.
Respectfully.
As great as Muhammad Ali was, we never really had the opportunity to see him at his best because his prime years he was suspended. So he did a lot of things to make money during that time. He gave speeches in colleges, and he took endorsement deals that he probably wouldn't have taken if he was at the top of the sport. So you can't really look at what Muhammad Ali did. Well, you can, but my thing is, at some point, he was just doing what he had to do to survive, and keep his dignity, because he wasn't trying to go against his values and his principles. Floyd Mayweather, on the other hand, is someone who watched Muhammad Ali and watched him deteriorate physically, watched all he sacrificed for the sport. Muhammad Ali fought for legacy. He fought the best fighters back to back to back to back. He took a lot of punishment in fights with Joe Frazier, the trilogy. He fought George Foreman in basically the rope a dope, where he went against the ropes and let the hardest puncher in boxing history, arguably by many people, beat on him until he got tired. He had difficult fights with Ken Norton. When you look at Muhammad Ali's career,
Right.
he took a lot of punishment. And if you look at Floyd Mayweather, I think his mindset was, and he said this is a Floyd Mayweather quote, there's nothing cool about taking punishment.
Agreed.
Nothing cool about that. And with Floyd, I think he was thinking, and I agree with Floyd from this perspective. I'm a fighter. I'm in the ring. I'm taking punches. I'm the one who has to live with this when the sport's done. Why should these promoters and managers make more money off of the deterioration of my body than me myself? And
Agreed.
so everything he did was
That's why the Ali Act too. Just
exactly. But
yeah.
here's where I defer with a lot of people who say he ruined the sport of boxing. Floyd took on the biggest fights and he fought the best fighters. But the problem is people discredit the fighters at the time that he fought them. So if you look at it, he fought Miguel Cotto, but people want to say, "Oh, that's after he fought Margarito, and that's after he lost to Manny Pacquiao." He fought Manny Pacquiao, but people will say, "Oh, that's after he lost to Timothy Bradley, and that's after he was knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez."
Yeah.
Well, he wanted those fights. Remember, Pacquiao didn't want to submit to drug testing. If you look at it now, in by modern day standards, if Devin Haney wanted to fight someone, like he's about to fight Brian Norman Jr., and Brian Norman Jr. held the stance that Manny Pacquiao held back in the days, which is, I don't want to do drug testing. I'm scared. I'm afraid of needles. Needles make me weak. We would be like, bro, you would cheat Why won't you take the drug test? Well, Manny Pacquiao didn't want to do
It's
it back in the day,
I'm strange, man.
right?
That's absolutely true.
Right. So
Yeah,
so so that's what held that fight up.
yeah,
Floyd wasn't asking for something unreasonable, but again, people don't like Floyd so much they want to make it seem like it was unreasonable.
right, right.
Even if you go back in the days, you can pull up this post fight interview, and I can show it to you. Floyd Mayweather is calling out Shane Mosley when he's
Hmm.
undefeated. He's calling
Hmm.
out Oscar De La Hoya when he's the face of boxing. He's calling these guys out, and they don't want to fight him,
Right.
right? So it's easy to make it seem like Floyd was the one ducking smoke, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
When Floyd beat Oscar De La Hoya and he became the money man, look at the fights he selected. He selected Juan Manuel Marquez. After Floyd dominated Marquez, Marquez still gave Timothy Bradley a hard time.
Yeah, yeah.
After Floyd beat Miguel Cotto, when Floyd beat Miguel Cotto, he was garbage. But when Canelo beat him, all of a sudden he was Miguel Cotto again. All of a sudden
Yeah.
he was good again.
Yeah.
Right? This is the problem. Everyone looks to discredit Floyd. Floyd in the ring was masterful. But outside of the ring, like fighting Conor McGregor, it's still not his fault, but he showed you can use your star power to make a crossover event, right? Conor
Yeah.
McGregor showed you can use your star power from UFC to make a crossover event. They both created a monster because now what you saw from that is Francis Ngannou crossing over. You've seen some
Hmm.
of the biggest active stars crossing over. You see the boxers now, big active stars like Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou willing to make this fight, which is WWE like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's making the money. So I can't get mad at this. But at the same time, uh, does it help the sport? I still don't know the answer to that.
Well, I think I do, and unfortunately, I think it's no, right? Because for this reason, is that okay? They're prize fighters, right? And just to bring this back to Gervonta and what you said about Mayweather, everybody talks about is he the goat or not. I say that he said this in an interview, and I agree with him. He's the best to ever do this thing boxing wise, right? In the sense of he's the best. He did it the best, not just in the ring, but like um, the way he approached the sport from a business perspective, from a spectacle perspective. I don't think anybody's ever done it as well as him, even Muhammad Ali, right? Because Mayweather took the sport in a way where he was able to elevate himself and the sport to a grand stage, right? The way he approached it. So I give him that. But in terms of the actual end result now, where are we, right? Where are we with all these fighters? A lot of guys now are looking just for the biggest check they can make so they can flex, so they can get rich, which rightfully so, because they're professional athletes. Who doesn't want to get rich, right? But it's not like back in the day where it was like it meant something to be the champion, right? To say I was the champion, I was the guy. That allure has kind of left. Now it's like I got more money than you. It doesn't matter that I was never the champion. It's the fact that I got more money than you. So nobody even cares, right? In fact, you're better off getting more Instagram followers, right? And being a streamer probably, and then fighting, than to like work hard, train, and win like titles up, work your way up regionally, all that stuff. Because it's like at the end of the day, it's about who can get eyeballs on you, right? So back to Tank. Will Tank retire after this fight? Probably, because I don't think he wants to fight Lamont Roach. It looks like he's not like into, do I care if I'm better than Devin Haney or not? Do I care if I'm better than Tiafimo? If I'm better than Shakur? I think all he cares about is do I have more money than them, right?
All right,
And maybe, yeah, go on.
let me just jump in on something. I think what you said is very important because I think it's a misconception. The billionaire rapper is Jay-Z. Jay-Z came into the game at a time where record labels were basically taking advantage of artists. Artists were making pennies on a dollar from what they generated. You look at like TLC, they have like their story out there, and so many other artists who have major hits, but they weren't making big time money. They were seeing a fraction of what they generated, right? So then you have a guy like Jay-Z who has to navigate his way through that system. He has to be taken advantage of on his first few albums, but he learns the business and then he ends up becoming the president, CEO, and then he ends up flourishing to the point where he becomes a billionaire. So, right, the up and coming rappers look at this and all they see is Jay-Z, the president, CEO. They want to emulate that, right? But Nas has this line where he says, like, y'all got there, but y'all ain't get it all, right? What ends up happening is they may get there. They may make one album, they may make two albums where they can make some money, but they don't get to the billion. Why? Because Jay-Z is the equivalent of the dude who started in the mailroom, learned the business from every aspect so that he could not just be someone who sits in the president's seat, but he's earned the right to sit in the president's seat. He knows everyone's job. He understands everything.
Right.
I think of Floyd Mayweather is the same way, right? Floyd came up in an era where skills mattered. That's
Right.
why his skills were immaculate. That's why he worked his tail off. But in the meantime, he had to learn the business too.
Right.
Oh, I can't feed my family on these contracts. If I keep getting these contracts, I'm going to be old, beat up, deteriorating, and I can't support my family. So like
Right.
Jay-Z, he maneuvered and he figured out a way to beat his own industry. You can't get mad at the man for that. Everyone else, like the Adrian Bronas of the world, all they see is the Floyd that's shining. They don't see the Floyd that's put in the work. Well, I disagree with, well, not disagree with you, but I want to make a distinction. Is still the guys who put in the hard work win. Who's the best right now? Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford once was boxed out by PBC. He wasn't the biggest name. He was fighting on cable TV while PBC fighters were fighting on pay-per-view, right? But he was the best. He was the one who was focused on his craft. He was the one who was dedicated to his craft. So when the opportunity came, he beat Spence. When the opportunity came, he shined on the biggest stages, beat Canelo. He stayed with that hunger. He stayed dedicated to the skills. Alexander Usyk turned pro later than Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, right? But he stayed dedicated to the craft. He stayed true to the sport for what originally mattered: skills, legacy, and talent. So when it came up to fighting Anthony Joshua, beat him. When it came to fighting Tyson Fury, another great guy, beat him. And this is what I'm saying. In the end, what people are missing is that hunger and that skill still matter. You can't get it all unless you master that ground level work ethic, hunger, perfecting your craft. Those guys still win in the end.
I think it comes down to, as fans, what do we want to reward, right? Because we got guys like Tank, we got guys like, like you said, I mean, obviously Bud, Usyk, these are guys who are like old school fighters, right? They actually want the smoke, because they're not just trying to, like, they want to prove I'm better than you, right? They go back to the original idea from boxing, is like one man is better than the other, right? And that's why I love watching their fights, because they're looking to, like, knock you out or to beat you definitively, not just win the match, not just squeak out ahead. Like, they're trying to beat you up. But we got somebody like Tank, and I think Tank has that. He's cut from that cloth. I think Tank could be a great, right, if he wanted to. But I think he also is just like, I just want to make this money and get out of here, right? So Tank could go that route, but I don't think he wants to, because it's like, in his mind, he's going to make more money from the circus fights. You disagree? You don't think
Tank is not cut from that cloth? Tank is cut from the Adrian Broner, Earl Spence cloth. Those are his buddies. As a matter of fact,
hold on. Okay, there's a couple. Adrian Broner with Earl Spence.
Like what like.
Adrian Broner's right over here. Huh? Adrian Broner's way over here.
I'm going to tell you, if you let me finish. Listen.
Okay.
You can look at the internet and you will see Adrian Broner, Earl Spence, and Gervonta Tank Davis hanging out with each other. All of them drunk and acting a fool, right? You've known me for years. Name one time you ever seen me drunk.
Zero.
Because that's my character. You never see me drunk, because it's not going to happen. So the fact that you've seen them drunk, that's their character. You can't say someone made it. You can't. That's their character. Right. So, like, there's certain things about people, when you see it, you just see their character. Right. The things that come out about them, the things that they engage in. Earl Spence had a car crash, almost took his life.
Right.
Drinking and driving. Adrian Broner is on a show, getting kicked off, trying to dine and
crashing
dash,
out.
all types of stuff, right? This is what happened with him. Gervonta Davis got his issues too with the stuff. They're not cut from the same cloth as Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford was his in a recent interview saying, "I never drank before.
Right,
Why
right.
would I put that stuff in my body? My body is like my temple, right? That's cut from the Mayweather cloth. Usyk is cut from the Mayweather cloth. I think Usyk drinks like occasionally, but Usyk takes care of his body. Like Usyk is dedicated to his craft. Like if Usyk is drinking, you've never seen Usyk stumbling over at leaving the pub like Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
right? Because this is what I'm saying to you. Like people can say whatever they want, but in the end, it's your actions, it's what you do. Those guys are cut from a different cloth. Tank is cut from the cloth of he just wants the money. He just wants the fame. He doesn't even want the fame anymore. The fame's too much for him because when people say negative things about him, he can't handle it. He really just wants the money. And that's what I mean about you got there, but you didn't get it all. You can give Tank whatever money he's going to make from Jake Paul. He can retire. How long is that money going to last him in his lifestyle before he's forced to come back to the ring? And when he's forced to come back to the ring, right, he's going to be older. He's going to be inactive. They're going to throw him in there with somebody who's going to cook him. But that's another story for another day. But to answer this question directly, will Tank retire after this fight? I believe he will think he's retired. He will announce that he's retired. Why? He's not going to want to see Shakur. He's not going to want to see Teofimo Lopez. He's not going to want to see the crop of guys he would have to fight who can beat him potentially. He's not going to want to see them guys. He'd rather do this circus fight. He'll retire. But eventually, when them funds get low, because remember, money coming out but not coming in is a problem, he'll return again.
Well, you said it best. These guys are not Floyd because Floyd, at least, before he kind of did this, he did all those fights, right? So Floyd is in a situation where he is like well off, what we think he is, because he's talking about coming back, and I know we're going to talk about that later. But yeah, I think you're right. At the end of the day, will Gervonta probably come back? Yeah, because if the money runs out and there's a check to be made, he's gonna come there and get that check. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we see a lot of all-time greats have done that in the past. You know what I mean? Like where they needed the money, so they took the fight they shouldn't have took. But Tank, yeah, I think also Tank from the Mayweather playbook might retire. You come back because when things die down, like, oh, I'm back. You know what I mean? And come in and take the fight that he needs to and get right back into the scene. So we'll see. I think he's about to make a decent amount of money. You're probably going to see Tank take a break at the very least after this next fight.
Yeah, I'll close by saying this. The huge difference between Tank and Floyd Mayweather is Mayweather put up the shots. Like he put the work and he put the hours in the gym. When you put the hours in the gym, it's like second nature. It's like breathing. It's like riding a bike. And Tank put hours in the gym, but not like Floyd. Like Floyd is a guy who can take years off and still come back because we just spoke about it. His habits, how he lives his life, those type of things. Years off for Tank can be problematic. Adrian Broner took years of inactivity and then came back and was never able to recover. So that's very risky for someone like Gervonta Tank Davis, who doesn't have the discipline of a Floyd Mayweather to take years off and then think he can come back. So if he's going to retire, he should stay retired.
One thing I want to say also, the whole thing. Sorry, I was trying to find his name. There's certain athletes who actually perform better with alcohol and drugs. So to be fair, it's not about necessarily being cut from the same cloth. That's why I said AB is just a crash out. Errol and Tank can still maybe perform on those substances because some people are just built like that. I wanted to bring up Lawrence Taylor, who was on coke, and he played some of the best football games ever. Right? He's one of the best linebackers in history. Right? You got people like Manny Pacquiao, who I think was better when he was, he gave his life to Christ. A shout out to him. But he was better when he was gambling and on the debauchery and hanging out with all night, whatever. His wife got on him and he was like, all right, I'm going to stop. Then he went downhill, getting knocked out. And John Jones is another one. John Jones is probably the best MMA fighter ever. And this dude is a A-list crash out. Like, this dude has done every drug. And he's never been even close to beating. But anyways, I agree.
There's exceptions to every
There's
rule.
exceptions to the rule. That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, AB. I think I think if he does retire and come back, it could be because the sport does pass you by, and if you don't have the work ethic that Mayweather does, yes, it will hurt you. It will be a rude awakening. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But we got to watch the circus first. We got to see how that turns out. Hope he doesn't get. I'm sure we're gonna break that down, but that's a big weight difference.
We got to know more. Like we got to know the glove size, everything, how many rounds, how many minute rounds.
I think we know it's 10 3-minute rounds. I think we know that, all that stuff.
That's judges. Finalized 10 3-minute.
10 3-minute rounds, 3 judges, 12-ounce gloves. Ooh. I don't know the size of the ring, but it's all that. It's a fight.
I'll tell you what, that favors Tank though, 10 3-minute, because Tank has the real gas tank for 12 rounds. Jake been fighting those little fake fights where him and Mike Tyson stood there and watched each other for 2 minutes and 15 seconds of a round. Now, Tank can actually fight every minute of a 10 round 3-minute fight.
Yeah, but that's also while being in the pocket with a guy 50 pounds heavier than you who can I mean, look, at the end of the day,
the reality is complex. And this is what I think Tank is banking on. If he can't knock Tank out, he's going to get to a point where stamina is going to beat him. It won't even be Tank. Stamina makes cowards of us all. Like if you and I had to run 4 miles against someone who ran a marathon, we can hang with them at their pace, maybe for a mile or two.
I got shot about 100 yards.
I give myself maybe a mile. Like, first of all, if their pace is like under 5, I'm done. Even before the mile begins. But that's my point. Like, you can hang for a little bit, but at some point, Gervonta's punch output is crazy. So if he's going to be chasing Gervonta around, trying to land punches, missing for 4 rounds, by the time he answers the bell for that 5th, if he's exhausted, no matter how big he is, he's going to be slow. He's going to be exhausted, and Tank's just going to pepper him up.
We'll break that fight down.
Well, we gotta wait to see.
I got some thoughts on that. I got some thoughts on that. I mean, it's a very interesting. It's not official on either of their records, I believe, but I think it's a very interesting proposition. However, it shakes out because for one guy, the risk is all with Gervonta in my mind. I don't think Gervonta doesn't really win with this, right? In that sense, but we'll see. He not gonna care after this anyway. He's gonna be like, I'm rich. As I was about to say,
I can really break this down. I got a lot to say on it because there's some certain aspects of this just fascinate me, man. Like, but I'll wait because you know how we do it. It'll take like 2 hours for us to finish. But thank you for watching this video. Please let us know what you think, your opinion. And hey, listen, to help get us some engagement, you can just leave an emoji in the comment section. A thumbs up, thumbs down, a 100, a shut up, whatever you feel. Last week, I think we got one comment where someone was mad at us and what we had to say about Eddie. So you can leave us whatever emoji you want, even if it's the middle finger up in there. But just get some action going in the comment section. Hit the like button. We appreciate you rocking with us. It's Caden and Complex. Wow. Peace.
We out.